of him.
Yeah, I think I have a similar story, and I think most of us have a similar story, right? Growing up in 90s and
Yeah,
2000s,
yeah,
and I think
yeah,
Australia was the biggest team in the world, like, and I loved Australia.
yeah, yeah.
I've never missed a single match India has
I
played.
didn't love them to be honest
You did?
because we couldn't beat them. Because we couldn't beat them.
Yeah, that's true. But I think we did once in a while,
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
occasions we did really well.
On occasions we did.
Yeah. So now I have to ask you the questions about the 2000s.
Okay,
I think that was a
okay,
changing time.
okay.
I think for me, I feel when Sourav Ganguly became the captain, the Indian cricket changed its face, I feel. We got that personality that we
Definitely.
really wanted.
Yeah,
And many people like me who didn't like cricket, maybe just watching because your dad is watching or someone is watching in your house. Then when Sourav Ganguly came in, everything changed. And then you got hooked to the sport. So I also grew up in 2000s. So let's talk about what were the finest performances by the Team India during 2000s. So what do you think
okay, okay.
should be the starting point of this
Okay.
discussion?
So I would like to start by saying that late 90s and 2000s, the early 2000s, especially until 2005 or 7, or even say the entire the decade of 2000s was the golden era for Indian cricket. I would say that way because I feel it that way. I understand that our team is like amongst the best currently, like probably the best team across formats in this time. At that point in time, we had other teams who would defeat us frequently rather than we defeating them as of now. But I would still say that that was one of the golden periods of Indian cricket because of the players that played for India. You see each and every player was a stalwart in his own role. Like you see, we had Sourav Ganguly as the captain, as you rightly said, he changed a lot of things. Like he was probably the first one to bring in that aggression and have an attitude of, that we can defeat Australia in Australia, or we can defeat England in England, or we can go South Africa and compete with them as well. So that was something that was very much needed, which we currently see. We dominate even when we go overseas. A large number of times we do dominate. At that point in time, we used to give good fights, but we couldn't win too much. But still, it was amazing period to watch cricket with all these players playing. Someone like Yuvraj Singh, Mohammad Kaif would throw them around the field at a point in time when it was said that India is not a good fielding side, and then these two fielders came in and revolutionized the fielding aspect as well. And then of course we had the likes of Sachin Tendulkar and Rahul Dravid and VVS Lakshman. So if we talk about 2000s and some of our best performances, I would start undoubtedly with the start of the decade, 2001, when we defeated Australia in a home test series. Considering that you can understand how powerful Australia was at that point in time, that even when India won at home, it is still considered a very big achievement
Yes.
because Australia, it was a final frontier for Australia, as everyone knows. Like they had defeated almost all the teams away at their home, and India was the only place where they hadn't won a test series. So their target was to beat India in India and conquer the world, like hypothetically, or at least say conquer the cricketing world. But then what happened in Kolkata, what transpired in Kolkata, everyone knows it. I don't need to elaborate that part. The interesting part about that was like I was reading V.V.S. Lakshman's autobiography some time back, and he has mentioned how the things fell out in that game. Like he was asked to go one down ahead of Rahul Dravid and everyone else, and he was so happy about it because he played. He was the only one who managed to score some 50 odd runs in the first innings
Hmm.
when we were dismissed very soon after Australia piling up some 400 runs.
Yeah.
So yeah, so V.S. Lakshman says that when the coach told him to go up the order and bat at number three position, he was like, "Coach's words were music to my ears." Uh, that is how he starts his book, and I think that was a very interesting anecdote to start with. So things like this, and then as the decade goes on, again in 2002, if I'm not wrong, we won the NetWest Trophy. Again, another iconic. win for India. Iconic celebration by Sourav Ganguly then
Yeah.
at the
So
Lord's
yeah, that took
balcony.
off the shirt and that Lord's thing, and that was you're talking about that, right?
Right, 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 right. So again, that match, we started off very well while chasing a target of 326, but we fell like a heap of cards then, and everyone had lost hopes. Like I remember even I had switched off my TV for a while, and but then we saw Yuvraj and Kev betting and betting and betting
Yeah,
and bringing us closer to the target, and then Kev stayed till the end and
yeah,
made sure that we end up on the finishing on the winning side. So again, that was iconic. That was, I think, one of the best wins for India even till date. Like we can't forget those those moments. And at any point in time, if broadcasters are telecasting the recording of those match, you want to sit and watch it, even though you know that this is going to happen on the next ball. So that was like just amazing. Apart from that, another important milestone that India achieved during that decade, I think it was again in 2002 when we drew a series in Australia, a four-match test series, and we drew it 1-all. So again, that was a very big achievement for India at that point in time to not let Australia win a series in their own backyard. So I think this is not much highlighted or popularized, but this is the series when Sachin scored the famous 243 and didn't play a single cover drive on the offside. So uh, again, another big thing for India, and then obviously the 2007 T20 World Cup. MS Dhoni had made his way till then in the Indian team, and like almost everyone remembers how we won that.
yes. So let me take you
We were
back to like this
six sixes and
2003, 2002 era. So this is the
hmm,
Australian team which like the batters will never get out. I remember I used to be so frustrated. Like Gilchrist doesn't get out. Hayden
huh,
doesn't stop hitting. Like what was it? Like we didn't know what to do at some point of time. They used to just not get out.
I think.
And then Ponting used to come after that, number three. Like if we managed to get Gilchrist out, Ponting is coming. And then, like, we still played the 2003 World Cup final, and all of us just wanted to win. Yeah. Because, you heard the stories of 83, and you basically don't recognize anybody from 83 World Cup because you're a kid, and this is before social media. So, 2003 was like the biggest event of my life. This was the first World Cup that I ever saw. So, I think the same case with you. And then we were in the
Yeah, yeah,
finals,
yeah.
and we thought that we'll win. I thought we'll win. But the finals was kind of miserable. So, what do you
Like
think
I
about
still remember that day. I still remember that day. Like started like practically we knew that India is not going to win. They can't beat Australia in a World Cup final because even during the group stages of the game of the tournament, they had scored some similar runs, more than 300 runs. And at that point of time, 300 was like out of reach. If
Giants
if the team betting first scores 300, then the second team is deemed to have lost. Uh, so I think we lost only to Australia even in the group stages, and they humiliated us like anything. Uh, and, so in the final, like I was thinking that Australia will definitely beat us, but what we can take as a positive from that tournament was Sachin will at least win man of the series because he had batted excellently throughout the tournament. So that was the only thing, that was the biggest award that India was going to achieve at that point in time.
Yeah,
And
true.
yeah, I remember
Sachin
like
scored
we
673 runs in the series. That was the highest. I think he had multiple
sorry, how
centuries.
many runs?
673.
673. Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Thanks for recalling that.
Yeah.
So, so that was, and as you said, Australian batting lineup was like as daunting as it could get. Like Gilchrist and Hayden obviously opening, and then at each and every wicket falling down, better batters would come in, like Ricky Ponting, and then Damian Martin, and then
Yeah.
Andrew Simons, and all those people, and then their bowling again is intimidating. Glenn McGrath getting out Sachin for 4 runs, and that was like. that was it. Like
I think they
Sachin
Patna,
has
we have
been dismissed.
Ledley,
We can't win now.
we had
Ah,
guy Jason
Gillespie.
Gillespie hair.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
not
So
stupid. Like
like
that team was the best team I
actually.
think for Australia, right?
That was like, as far as I have seen people talk about the West Indies team
Mm.
from the earlier era, like 70s and 80s. I've never seen them playing, obviously. So for me, like Australia has been the best team, like who could dominate each and every opposition, and in each and every venue or each and every country, wherever they would travel, they had the players, they had the capability to dominate everywhere. If we talk about the Indian team right now, it is largely
Yeah.
similar, but not as good as it was Australia was at that point in time. So undoubtedly, Australia was intimidating. That was the reason I was saying that I didn't like them because I felt like our team is so good. We have Sachin, we have Dravid, we have Ganguly, and we are still not able to beat them. Like so, you can just imagine how good they were.
But if you look at the records right now, you realize that we are blessed with such great batting lineup. It's actually unbelievable. You have
Yeah,
Sehwag,
yeah,
you have Tendulkar, Ganguly, Dravid, Lakshman, going down the lineup, Yuvraj,
Mm.
Kev, all these people just. Then Dhoni generation
Yeah.
along. So I think we are lucky to have these great players. And today's batting side is
Undoubtedly,
so
like
awesome. Yeah,
to still as I would still love to see the batting lineup of that time. Maybe include Virat Kohli from this era. Uh, because I think there is a bit of bias as well because that was a point in time we started watching cricket like the likes of me and you as well, and we have an emotional connect with those players
yeah.
more than we would have with players from this generation. Maybe I'm not sure, but I sometimes feel so that there is a bit of bias in that. But I think then it's okay as well to have that kind of a bias.
Yeah, we were totally emotionally connected with these players, because
Huh,
I remember when Sachin used to get out in his nervous 90s phase,
huh,
he had
huh.
this prolonged, heartbreaking, soul-crushing phase.
Yeah,
Used to get out at 99, 98 so many times. Now, I personally
uh,
used to feel so bad, like, can't even. Today, I'm not that invested, kind of
okay.
indifferent towards these things, I think, today. That time, like, I
Yeah.
couldn't bear Sachin getting out 99, seriously.
uh,
And then when Saurabh Ganguly was out of the team for a while, like I think when Greg Chappell became
yeah,
coach of
yeah,
Sachin, he was out.
yeah,
So then I was a big Dada fan.
yeah.
Like, I used to feel so bad. Like, why is he out of the team? And he's
Huh,
the best
huh.
captain so far. So how can you do it? I was very disturbed in that phase. Then he came back.
Yeah, true, true.
There's a whole story too. Great story.
Yeah. Again.